I got a message from a random guy. I think we're dating the same girl. We compared notes. Same lies, same nights, different beds. I told him her parents invited me for dinner. Her dad's a church elder. Her mom runs Bible study. We planned nothing loud. I just sat down at the table. He rang the doorbell 10 minutes later. She froze, started shaking. Her mom slapped her before anyone spoke. Her father just stared. It started with a message that looked like spam. I think we're dating the same girl. No greeting. No name. Just that. I would have ignored it, but something about the timing stopped me. It came late. Almost midnight. Just as my girlfriend had texted that she was too tired to call and would crash early. That small overlap. That timing. It poked at something I hadn't been ready to admit. A gut feeling I'd been dodging for weeks. I answered. He introduced himself as Marcus. Said he found my profile because she had liked a picture I posted. A picture with her in it, partially blurred in the background. He'd recognized the jacket she was wearing. He described it in detail. Same shade of green, torn sleeve, white drawstring. I didn't confirm anything right away. I just listened. Then he said her name. Her full name. Same as mine. Same pronunciation. Same odd middle name she once joked about changing. He didn't hesitate when saying it. Still, I played it cool. I asked him where he lived. He was one neighborhood over. 10 minutes away. He said they met at a friend's birthday months ago. She told him she had just gotten out of a messy relationship. Said I had been controlling. Violent, even. I laughed. I've never raised my voice to her, let alone a hand. We were still together. We hadn't broken up. Not even during her mood swings or the time she vanished for 3 days and claimed her aunt had died. She had been staying with him, apparently. I asked for proof. He sent me a photo of her asleep in his bed, one I'd never seen. Her hair was pulled back. She was wearing one of my t-shirts. The band logo was unmistakable. I hadn't seen that shirt in a while, but I had just assumed she'd taken it home one night. Then he showed me something worse. A mirror selfie. Her holding his phone, standing in my bathroom. He didn't even know. He said he thought it was her place. But I recognized the tiles behind her. The chipped edge of the counter. Even the towel hanging in the background. Mine. My home. I didn't react. I let it simmer. I asked for a video call. He agreed. The screen came on. He looked normal. Casual hoodie, tired eyes. Looked like someone I'd probably get along with under different circumstances. We talked for over an hour. Dates. Locations. Lies. Every weekend I thought she was busy with family. She was with him. Every time she said her mom was in town, she was at his apartment. She'd fed him the exact same stories. Same jokes. Same future plans. Even told him she wanted to take him to the same bed and breakfast we'd gone to in the spring. We traded screenshots. One in particular made me freeze. It was from 2 weeks ago. She had messaged him late at night. Thinking about you. Wish I could cuddle. That same night. She had messaged me an hour earlier. Can't stop thinking about how good your arms feel. You're my favorite person. Different words. Same rhythm. It was like watching a con artist perform. That's when it stopped feeling like heartbreak and started feeling like strategy. I asked him what he wanted to do. He hesitated. Said he wasn't sure. He seemed more sad than angry. He had thought she was the one. They'd talked about moving in. Her dog, the same dog she said she rescued herself, was originally his. She had asked to borrow the dog for a week when hers died, then never returned it. Said the new dog was a gift from a coworker. That floored me. I'd been walking that dog, buying treats, taking it to the vet, thinking it was her dog the whole time. I thought she was just sentimental when she kept talking about his old collar. Turns out it wasn't her ex's. It was his. And he wanted the dog back. Badly. I asked him again. What now? He said, you're going to hate this, but I think we should meet. I didn't hate it. I already knew where this was heading. She'd been running 2 parallel lives for over half a year. I wasn't interested in yelling, breaking things, or arguing. I wanted precision. I wanted her exposed. Not just to us, to the world she lied to. That included her family. I had a thought. I told him, her parents still like me. They invited me over for dinner next weekend. He blinked. Seriously? I nodded. Her dad's a church elder. Her mom runs Bible study. I'm their golden boy. She told them I helped her through college. They pray with me before we eat. He was silent for a second, then grinned. You thinking what I'm thinking? I'm thinking she's not going to be able to lie her way out of this one. We didn't plot revenge. We didn't scheme. Just 2 men, blindsided, comparing damage. But something clicked in that moment. Not anger. Not pettiness. Just justice. A calm kind of justice. We agreed to speak again the next day. We'd keep her in the dark for now. No confrontations. No drama. Just play our parts. But the game had already started. And she had no idea what was coming. The next few days were surreal. I saw her twice that week, and every time she smiled like nothing had changed. She sent flirty texts, made weekend plans, even joked about getting a second dog. I responded like usual. Played my role. Kissed her, held her hand, asked how work was going. She didn't notice anything. Not in my voice. Not in my eyes. She had no idea that Marcus and I were now in regular contact. We spoke every evening, compared more notes, laughed at the ridiculous overlaps. She had introduced him to her close friend, Tara, the same person she once told me she'd cut off years ago for spreading rumors. Tara apparently knew everything, supported the double dating, called it modern freedom. That phrase stuck with me. Modern freedom. She had none of the typical excuses. No guilt. No sign of shame. Just careful balancing. She'd tell me she had to help her mother after a minor surgery, then drive 3 cities away to spend the night at Marcus's place, posting old photos to her story as proof she was home. And Marcus, poor guy, had even driven her to one of my work events once, where she told him she was just there to support a friend starting a small business. That friend was me. Every lie peeled back a new layer. Marcus and I started joking that we were dating each other, just with her as the middleman. She copied our jokes, reused our gifts, even regifted a book I gave her. He found it in his living room. My inscription was still inside. She was careful, but not smart. There were too many threads, too many inconsistencies. And now that we knew the patterns, it was easy to spot what she was doing. That Friday, I told her I had to work late. She pouted, said she wanted a cozy night in. I pretended to feel guilty, then surprised her with a next-day brunch plan to make it up. She seemed thrilled. Meanwhile, I knew she was already texting Marcus, setting up a quiet Friday night with takeout and Netflix. I watched her do it. How? Because Marcus was sitting in his car, parked down the block, reading her messages in real time. We had sync times. We were playing a quiet chess game, and she was still moving pawns like no one was watching. She left my place around 7 p.m., gave me a kiss on the cheek, said see you tomorrow. She had a bag with her, said it was her gym stuff. I watched her walk away, then texted Marcus. She's on the way. 15 minutes later, she stepped into his apartment like she owned the place. He filmed her walking in through the peephole, smiling, bottle of wine in hand. She didn't even knock. We didn't confront her. Not yet. Marcus kept the act up all night. Ordered sushi, let her fall asleep on his chest, then snuck away and texted me photos of her passed out on the couch. The same couch where they'd apparently had their first kiss, 2 days after she and I had celebrated our anniversary. The next morning, while she pretended to be with her mom, she texted me good morning and asked what time brunch was. I told her noon. She showed up right on time. Hair straightened. Lip gloss. New earrings. Her phone lit up twice during our meal. Marcus's name. She silenced it quickly. Smiled like nothing in the world could be wrong. I watched her sip her mimosa and talk about how much she needed stability in her life. It took everything I had not to laugh. That night, Marcus and I finalized the plan. Her parents had confirmed Sunday dinner. She told me her dad was making lasagna and wanted me to bring my famous chocolate pie. She made jokes about me being husband material. Marcus sent a screenshot of her texting him. Parents are busy this weekend. Maybe I'll finally get to stay the night. That sealed it. We agreed on timing. I would arrive first. Sit down. Play polite. Act like I always had. Then, 10 minutes in, Marcus would arrive. Ring the bell. Say nothing. Let her explain. We didn't know what would happen exactly, but we knew she wouldn't be able to spin out of it fast enough. Sunday came. I baked the damn pie. She wore a soft blue dress and did her makeup in the passenger seat while we drove over. She seemed nervous, but not because of guilt. Just her usual pre-parental anxiety. Wanted to make a good impression. Wanted them to see she was committed to the future we kept talking about. She even fixed my collar before we knocked. Her mom hugged me. Her dad nodded and gave me a firm handshake. He always liked how I said grace before eating. Said it showed roots. They asked about work. About the condo I was saving for. Her mom said she was proud of us for being so steady. I thanked her. Smiled. Meanwhile, I knew Marcus was already parked 2 streets away, waiting for my cue. We sat down at the table. The lasagna was still bubbling. Her dad started saying grace. I bowed my head. She bowed hers. Then I texted him one word. Now. Exactly 10 minutes after I'd walked in, the doorbell rang. She flinched. Her mom paused mid-pour. Her dad blinked. The doorbell rang again. She stood up slowly. Looked at me. I didn't move. I just smiled. Her hands started shaking. She opened her mouth, then shut it again. Her mom stood up. I'll get it. She took 2 steps toward the hallway and froze. From her spot at the dining table, her mom could see who was standing on the porch. So could I? Marcus stood there. No smile. Just calm. Holding the leash of the dog she said was rescued from a shelter. The same leash I had walked with just last week. Her mom's face changed. From pleasant to confused. Then to something harder. She looked back at her daughter. Then at me. Silence. Her dad put down his fork. He looked at his daughter, not with rage, but something worse. A kind of quiet disappointment that turned the whole room cold. She tried to speak, but her voice caught. Her mom took a step forward, then slapped her, not hard, but sharp. Enough to echo in the room. No one screamed. No one moved. The dog barked once from the hallway. She sank into the chair, covered her face. Her dad didn't say a word. Marcus nodded at me. I stood up, looked her father in the eye, thanked him for dinner, then turned to Marcus and said, "Ready?" We walked out together, left the door wide open. She didn't follow. She couldn't. The air outside felt colder than it should have. Not because of the weather, because of what we'd just left behind. Marcus and I didn't speak right away. We walked 2 blocks before he finally handed me the leash. I took it, half in shock. The dog didn't resist, just looked up like it already knew whose side to be on. Marcus exhaled slowly, like the weight had cracked open his ribs. She didn't say a word, he muttered. She just sat there. I nodded. Her mom did all the talking without saying anything. And that was the thing. We hadn't screamed, hadn't laid out a wall of screenshots or played voice recordings. The truth walked in the door and did its job. She didn't even try to lie. She couldn't. Her face had folded the second she saw him standing there. But we weren't finished. What happened inside that house had cracked the mask. Now, we wanted to make sure there was nothing left for her to hide behind. Marcus offered to drive, so I got in his car with the dog and sat silent for most of the ride. We weren't headed home. We were headed somewhere else first. She had a group of friends she called her circle. They were close, always in her photos, always tagging her in stories, always talking about how loyalty matters. A couple of them had even commented under my photos, things like, "You guys are goals." We had both been in those group chats. Different nicknames. Same jokes. So when Marcus suggested stopping by the park where they were all meeting for a Sunday picnic, an event she had turned down that same morning claiming to be having a spiritual night with family, I didn't need convincing. She wouldn't be there, obviously. She'd be too busy picking up the shards of her life. But her friends would be. The ones she lied to. The ones who told us, she's been through so much. She just needs someone stable. When we arrived, it didn't take long to find them. 5 of them sat in a circle near the gazebo. 2 of them had matching shirts with her initials printed on the back. Sisterhood, one said. The irony was thick. Marcus handed me a folder as we walked toward them. It had everything. Printouts of the messages. Photos. Timeline entries. Copies of gift receipts we each thought were for us, but turned out to be duplicates. Even a screenshot of her saying she was done with both of them. I just want peace and quiet. Sent the day before she invited me to dinner with her parents. We didn't cause a scene. We didn't shout. We just walked up, greeted them politely, handed over the folder, and left before they could open their mouths. 2 minutes later, my phone started buzzing. Blocked number. Blocked again. New number. Please don't do this. You don't understand. I understood just fine. We drove to Marcus's place and finally let the dog inside. He ran straight to the corner of the couch where his old blanket still lay. The same one she had told me was from her first apartment. More lies. Always lies. We didn't feel triumphant. It wasn't that kind of revenge. It wasn't petty. We weren't laughing over drinks or celebrating like it was a game. We sat on opposite ends of the room and just processed. This woman had taken months of both our lives, had stitched together a fantasy world using our resources, our time, our emotions, our trust, and wore it like armor in front of everyone who respected us. Marcus showed me something then, something I hadn't seen yet. A video from 2 weeks ago. It was her phone screen, recording herself in selfie mode. She was talking to a friend, Tara, again, about how neither of them are husband material, but at least they're loyal and useful. She'd recorded it by accident, sent it to Marcus in a panic claiming it was about her exes. But the names she mentioned were unmistakable. She'd laughed while saying them, and she didn't even delete it. That's how confident she was. That's how unafraid she had become. But all that collapsed the second 2 of her realities walked into the same room. We figured she'd run damage control, but she couldn't even do that properly. That night, one of her friends from the picnic posted a photo of the folder, redacted some info, but left in enough to make it clear what had happened. The caption read, "If loyalty matters, tell the truth to someone." She didn't respond, didn't post, didn't message again. Her silence was louder than anything she could have said. Marcus asked me one final thing before I left. What would you have done if he hadn't messaged you? I thought about that. Honestly, I would have proposed, I said. I'd already picked out the ring. He didn't reply, just nodded. We both understood how lucky we were that someone spoke up. Monday morning came quietly. No dramatic calls. No public apology. Just absence. Her profiles were still up, but everything posted in the last month had been wiped. Photos with me? Gone. Captions about real love? Gone. The picture of her and the dog in the park, the one I took, the one she had cropped me out of and posted with soulmates. That one too. Gone. Marcus told me she hadn't shown up at work. By midday, I received a message from one of her cousins, someone I'd met twice at family events. Did something happen between you two? Aunt's not speaking to anyone. Uncle canceled Sunday service. I didn't respond. I didn't have to. The fallout was taking care of itself. But there was one last thing I wanted. I wanted to hear what she'd say, not to me, but to them. So I asked Marcus if he was up for one more visit. We parked near her parents' house again, 2 evenings after the dinner. The lights were on. Cars were in the driveway. It looked quiet. We stayed in the car. Waited. Around 7:15, she showed up. Alone. Walking. No makeup. Hoodie. Hair in a bun. She moved like she didn't want to be seen. Slouched shoulders, eyes fixed on the ground. She knocked once. The porch light stayed off. The door opened halfway. Her father stood in the frame. We couldn't hear them from the car, but body language was enough. She stepped forward. He didn't move. She gestured, tried to talk. He stepped out onto the porch and closed the door behind him. That alone said everything. They stood face to face. His arms stayed crossed. Hers kept fidgeting. She looked small next to him, shrinking. At one point, she reached out. He stepped back. Then came her mother. She stepped outside too, but stayed behind him. The look on her face was tired. She didn't speak, just stared, and then shook her head. The front door stayed closed behind them the whole time. After a few minutes, her dad pointed toward the sidewalk. Nothing aggressive, just a firm gesture. Her body seemed to collapse inward. She turned around, shoulders curled, and walked away. She didn't cry, didn't yell, just walked. They didn't invite her back in. They didn't even watch her leave. They went inside without a word and shut the door. Marcus and I didn't follow her. We waited another minute, then drove off in silence. That was the last time I saw her in person. The next morning, I woke up to an email. Not a text, not a voicemail. An email. No subject line. No greeting. Just a paragraph. She claimed she'd been confused about her needs. Said she never meant to hurt anyone, but that we had both failed to understand her pain. She blamed childhood, her parents' pressure. Said the dinner ambush was a cruel performance and not how real men handle betrayal. At the end, she added one line. You both ruined my relationship with my parents. I hope it was worth it. I didn't reply. Marcus received the same email, word for word. She'd copy-pasted her final message to both of us. That was her closing move. It ended not with fire, but with silence. But the damage was permanent. Her circle knew. Her family knew. The people she'd leaned on for her web of lies had stopped catching her fall. And for someone who had manipulated every room she entered, being alone was the one punishment she'd never prepared for. Marcus kept the dog. I kept the peace. We didn't tell the full story to anyone else. We didn't need to. Enough people had seen what they needed to see. Enough truth had leaked without us needing to pour more. Sometimes, justice isn't loud. It doesn't come with dramatic exits or viral callouts. Sometimes, it's two people showing up at the exact right moment and letting the rest collapse on its own. And it did. She never got the chance to spin a new lie, because there was no one left to believe it. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.